No. Okay, what about showering? How do you shower? You don't.
Not really running water.
How long are you guys up there? How long is the actual journey gonna
10
be?
days.
10 days. Same clothes?
Probably.
And if you need to use the bathroom in space, you can use the toilet up towards the ceiling. We don't know too many details here, but let's just say privacy is somewhat limited.
You can have a shower because there isn't one. And it just keeps getting sillier and sillier when you look at this International Space Station.
When I say Earth is round, you're not being open-minded by saying, I wonder if it could also be flat.
Go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
I think we shouldn't be too timid to say, for example, that by the end of this century we're going to put a man on Mars. That's my judgment.
Tonight, I am directing NASA to develop a permanently manned space station and to do it within a decade.
A journey to another planet, a manned mission to Mars.
Using the Crew Exploration Vehicle, we will undertake extended human missions to the moon as early as 2015.
Last month, we launched a new spacecraft as part of a re-energized space program that will send American astronauts to Mars.
I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it?
We're going to defeat socialism and put a man on the face of the moon.
We all know there's a crisis down there. For goodness sakes, you're putting migrant kids in NASA facilities.
You're putting migrant kids in NASA facilities.
Gone are my blues and gone are my tears. I've got good news to shout in your ear.
I cannot believe that this is the news that we are hearing about right now, but NASA just officially canceled the entire mission that was supposed to land humans on the moon. This is obviously insane right now. For years, Artemis 3 was supposed to be the mission that finally put humans back on the moon for the first time since 1972. That was literally the entire point, why it's all over social media, why so many people are excited right now, and yesterday NASA just officially canceled it. They actually didn't scrap the entire program though, they actually just scrapped the plan, because Artemis 3 is still going to launch in 2027, but it's just not going to go to the moon anymore. Instead,
We're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along.
So first things first, I'm going to talk about Artemis 2. We were here just a week ago. We were all very excited last Friday after the successful wet dress rehearsal. We were in a great place at that time and looking at a launch in early March. Things changed pretty quickly last Friday evening, where we discovered the issue with the flow of helium to the ICPS, the upper stage of the SLS.
I guess I had this sort of question about what's the meaning of life? Why is anything important?
I know that our team is up for this challenge. We are ready, and we are ready to get started on that.
Why are we here? What's the origin of the universe? What is the end?
So while we have the ability to access the boosters and the core stage out at the pad, we were in preparations already for being able to do the work that needed to be done out at the pad. We do not have the ability to access the interior of the upper stage at the pad. So that's what's the requirement to roll back to the vehicle assembly building.
What are the questions that we don't even know to ask?
We hope to get down to the root cause of that and make changes not just to the hardware, but to our operational procedures so that we don't encounter the same issue again when we roll back out to the pad.
So I'm just trying to, I guess, understand what's going on. What is going on in this reality?
We will continue to provide updates, regular updates of how we're progressing within the VAB and our plans once they solidify on when we roll back out. We will definitely let everybody know.
But also at the same time, we have been 2 years away from the moon for about 6 years in a row now, so I guess we'll see.
Statements beyond Artemis 2, I know that our team is up for this challenge. We are ready, and we are ready to get started on that. Thank you.
No. No, don't ever say that again. No.
Chapter 10, Hype or Reality.
Remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it, he said, is a lie.
Leave some for the fish, right? What? But that's not why I brought you here.
Good morning, Saints, and welcome, sinners. This is the Critical Christian Crowd. I am your laconic lay leader, Lon Linky, live from West Central Minnesota. Me, Margaret, the Moose, fish on the wall, #1 fan, right there. And all the chitty chatsters that were gathered around the river in the green room this morning. I guess I'll see you later this afternoon. It is going to be a replay day. We haven't had a solid yellow since we started this back in November. But that's what we got today. So it's going to be a replay day. There won't be much conversation in the chat then, will there? No, Margaret. There won't be much conversation in the chat because there's nobody in the chat. Oh, look. The Moose is converting to Muslimism. How about that? That's something you don't see every day. Well, I guess we'll direct this one to the folks who will be watching on replay, which makes it real easy. I'm not quite sure what the difference is, whether you watch live or watch later. But apparently there's no interaction. Oh, is that what it is? let's first of all, titled this thing, R.I.P. N.A.S.A. because, listen, if it lays dead like a duck, if it won't fly like a duck, if it won't quack like a duck, it's a dead duck in the water. And I mean, how many times do we have to say this on this channel and other channels as well? What does NASA do? What do they do other than tell stories? Anyway, this intro was interesting, and it is a freestanding piece on Fisherman in a Box, the least watched, least viewed vlogcast podcast in the history of mankind, just the way we like it. And I noticed, too, that this was as we looked back over our year-to-year numbers. I thought you didn't look at numbers. We pay attention to them. I don't care what it is, but we look at them. Stop telling people you don't look at your numbers. Cookie jar's got to go this year. Anyway, every year since we began this, and this little channel started with 217 subscribers, and then the next year we had 400, the next year we had 600, then 800, then 1,000, then 1,200. So we have steadily grown by 200 subscribers every year. Every year. Except this year. Well, why is that? I don't know. We got about 50 this year. So we didn't go down. But once we got our 50, well, we all know why. Interesting. Just interesting to me. And it'll come up in Satan's Place News this morning. But first, I wanted to go over this freestanding intro. And it featured this teenage kid who is aghast that NASA isn't doing what they told everybody they were supposed to do. Why isn't NASA doing the... Why did NASA cancel everything that they canceled? Let's look at the schedule. Excuse me. Let's look at the reschedule. All right. The Artemis Fartemis 2, the stink ship to outer space, right? The space diaper mobile was originally scheduled to blast off on February 6th. And then they had to postpone it to Super Bowl Sunday. And then they postponed it from Super Bowl Sunday to sometime in March, March 6th. I think today is the 8th. And then last week they said, well, no, we can't go in March either. We're going to go in April. Oh, okay. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to send Artemis 3 to the moon like we told you we would. Artemis 3 is going to go around the moon too. And then we're going to introduce Artemis 4, and they'll go to the moon in 2028. Well, the youth of America, the heliocentric millennials and Zoomers, are losing their little baby brains. They're just losing their brains because that's their God, their outer space God, their imagination God. We're all AI cartoons. We're cuckoo cuckoo crazy people. But space is their God, and they're not going anywhere. Driving them crazy. So yeah, there's the rescheduling of events, and Mr. Towner was in the green room this morning having conceptualized coffee and digital donuts with your stinky old fisherman. And we were discussing the fact that the folks have got to listen. If they can't grasp the fact that there's no functionality, that there's no practicality, there's no logic behind anything that NASA does, if they don't grab that, they should be able to at least grab the concept in their little baby brains that they're paying enormous chunks of money for this nothingness, right? They're paying enormous amounts of money, $25 billion per year here in America to have NASA. Well, if you do the NASA math on this one and back count it up to 2022 when they announced that we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon in 2024. Okay. Well, in 2022 they got $25 billion. In 2023 they got $25 billion. 2024 they got $25 billion. Did they go to the moon in 2024? 2025 they got $25 billion. 2026 they're going to get $25 billion. 2027 they're going to get $25 billion. And by the time they finally land on the moon in 2028, fat chance of that ever happening, it'll be another $25 million. And you add those up, that's $200 billion for what? Their fake press conferences? And every time they make one of these announcements, do the major players of mainstream media show up? No. They don't show up for these massive announcements of NASA failures. NASA just holds their little press conference with their fourth wall hidden. I don't even know that there's anybody sitting out there. But they're just telling them. And it's in the intro. She's the program manager. That power mama with a NASA logo on her breast. Yeah. They just tell you. They don't answer any questions. They just tell you what they're going to do. And I guess all the stupid soup eaters, okay. Well, the point of the whole thing was the angst of the youth of America, at least, are starting to see through that veil. They're starting to see through the dark glass and go, what is going on? They're hanging their hopes and dreams on this mess. So you could see the frustration in the eyes and hear it in the voice of this young man who was just so disappointed in NASA. Anyway, we have a clip today that features the differences between the angst of that young man and the calm, quiet peace and wisdom of a sailor who's sailing the ocean, a sailor who actually sails, versus this kid who sits in front of his video game machine all day and waits on NASA to do something so they can pretend together. Anyway, it's just interesting. And I conflated it with Elon Musk, and he's constantly asking, Grimes, what is the meaning of life? Where is the origin of everything? That's not cool. He's always his little god of Spinoza that he always is talking about. I don't worship. I worship the god of Spinoza, Einstein's god. That's the pantheism god. That's the I am the walrus. You are the carbon. We are the stardust. Cuckoo-ca-choo, Mr. Spinoza. Yeah. So it's fun to put Elon, and this is the king of outer space, by the way. This isn't some normal schlub off the street. No, this is the world's richest man, the king of outer space, and he's looking for revelation. Well, that'll come up too. Anyway, that's that. But you got to ask yourself and ask of others. Does any of this with NASA seem logical? No. Is it practical? No. Is it functional? No. They just pour over these setup clips when they're doing their dress rehearsals and their wet dress rehearsals. And you've seen them. We've all seen them, where they load them up in the capsule. They put them in the capsule, and they walk in with their suits on and carrying their big bag of whatever, diapers, I guess. And they get them in their seats, and then they have all these technicians come in to put their helmets on and put their gloves on. Those are the two connectors, right? The helmets and the gloves. And the technicians have to put the gloves on them because they snap into place, and they're very difficult to get on and off. But my thought was, when the technicians leave and the astronauts go up into the sky vacuum, and then they get out of their big spacesuits, where are the technicians to get them out of those cumbersome spacesuits?
They're back on the space pad, idiot. Don't you pay attention?
That's my point, Margaret. I got these big, cumbersome space gloves on, and now I'm going to be able to get in there and negotiate these helmet switches where you probably need a finger to get in there and unloose that latch. No, it's not functional. And they show you. It's not me saying it. They show you it's not functional. It's just bizarre to me. Absolutely bizarre to me. Since we're on the money thing, I think that wraps it up on the intro stuff. Yeah. And apparently Elon's God of Spinoza is not giving him any revelation at all, because Elon has all these questions all the time. What is the origin of life? Is there a beginning? Apparently the God of Spinoza ain't sharing any of his divine wisdom with Elon. That's sad, because my God shares revelation all the time. I know exactly what's going on this realm, and I do know the beginning, and I do know the end. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. This table of 150, and I put Trump's name up there only because his administration is in charge right now. That's the only reason. Because the spinning wheel of presidents telling everybody since Kennedy in the 1960s, early 1960s, that we're going to the moon and we're going to Mars and we're going to build an international space floaty-bill tuna can. The spinning wheel of presidents, yeah, they all have said it. All of them. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. You would have thought after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, people would have said something. No. That's a reprobate mind. Margaret, that is a reprobate mind. That's a mind that's covered up by a spell that has made a stronghold in their brain that they can't get rid of. 2 Corinthians 10:5. Capture every thought and give it to the obedience of Christ. Every thought. People are way too ready to believe their vain imaginations, which is biblical too. Give me 2 seconds to let everybody know it's a replay day. It's a replay a day. We got people wandering into the chat, and then they see how buffery cruddy it is. Anyway, I'll make that note. Sorry about that.
Yeah, now you lost your train of thought, didn't you?
No, I'm fine. The spinning wheel of presidents who have all promised outer space, and it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And it's a table of 150 money grab. Like I will refer back to then the green room with Mr. Towner and I having this conversation about the money. The money. They should be able to see this. That's 150 billion to 200 billion in 6 years, in 8 years. That's a lot of money. And here in the state of Minnesota, we know about fraud. And Trump's tariffs, or this administration's tariffs, okay, I don't have any problem with tariffs. But you know what tariffs are supposed to do? Tariffs are supposed to replace income tax. Tariffs are a source of government funding. Okay, but did they get rid of the income tax? No. You still get that. Where's the Doge money? Where's Elon's Doge money at? I don't know. And everywhere in the news is this funding for these data centers. You can't build these massive power-fueled data centers without money. So the money's coming from somewhere. And the craziest of all of these items on the list, whoops, wrong hand, is Elon Musk's new upcoming SpaceX IPO offering. SpaceX, you'll see it in a clip here coming up too shortly. Everybody forgets about Elon and SpaceX and the expectations and verbal announcement that they had made. They were going to send an unmanned rocket ship to Mars by 2026. And this was way back in 2020, 2023, 2022. Okay? Boy, it's 2026. You don't hear Elon saying diddly nothing about his little Martian trip. So that's not happening. Unbelievable. And apparently, this is supposed to be a $1.5 trillion event. Wow. I don't know. You got to, I'm certainly not giving financial advice on this little channel, or doctor advice, or legal advice. We don't give advice. We give spiritual guidance at best and pray that we are correct. Unbelievable. So let's go to the news from Satan's place. This may be a very brief one this morning, although there are a few numbers in the chat. Thanks for hanging in there. Yeah, the war in Iran, this thing is going to be interesting as it all pans out. You got the Zionists versus the Jews versus the Muslims, and multiple sects of Muslims who don't like each other either. So you got a whole bunch of Antichrist people fighting each other. Oh, okay. All right. Why are the Christians being drug into this war? I don't know. They always get drug into the war somehow, don't they? Yep. That's because God bless the troops. You see that sign everywhere. God bless America. God bless our troops. Okay. All right. God bless the troops, I guess. Those are Christian troops. Onward Christian soldiers. I thought that was a spiritual battle. I thought we weren't supposed to wrestle with flesh and blood. You see it. Anyway, interesting statistic in that the Strait of Hormuz, Moose. Hey, it's got your name in it, Moose. The Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, only 20% of the world's oil. No, I say only. No, they're touting it as 20% of the world's oil comes out of the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. Is that supposed to affect us economically? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, 80% of the food also goes in to that strait to feed the GCC, the Gulf Cooperative Corporation of the Gulf. I don't know what it stands for, but it's the GCCP. It's all those countries over there. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait, Lebanon, Syria. Yeah. They get 80% of their food because, in case you didn't know, they all live in a desert. They all live in a desert. Like Sam Kinison said, I'm tired of sending you food. Move out of the desert to where the food is grown. Yeah, so 80% of the food comes in the Hormuz Strait to feed these people. Okay, so if you cut off the Strait of Hormuz, just to penalize America and the allies with your oil, well, then 80% of your food doesn't get in either. Okay. It's going to be interesting. That's all I say. The kidnapped pretty word reader grandma is still missing. She is having a ball somewhere she and her young lover are having a ball in a hot tub, or she's dead. I don't know. But that's just sad to me that they can't find that old grandma. Anyway, the big, beautiful Badlands Barbie, speaking of beautiful women, Badlands Barbie, our favorite. We've been featuring Barbie Benton of the Black Hills for years here on this channel. The legendary governor of South Dakota, the Garden Christie Gnome. The Garden Christie Gnome, she got fired. Okay. Sit down, shut up.
What'd she get fired for? I liked her. She was beautiful, riding a horse in slow motion through the Black Hills of South Dakota.
Yeah. All the men enjoyed watching her ride that horse in slow motion, too, with her hair flowing and her buxom bosom bouncing up and down and her high-heeled leather boots with her tight, skinny jeans tucked in. Yeah. It cost the American taxpayer $250 million for her Look at Me ad campaign. Couldn't have happened to a sweeter gal. You know, and it took that senator from Louisiana, Kennedy, to say, Mr. Haney, did the president okay this? Because I know the president. I don't think he'd sign off on $250 million so you could ride a horse in the Black Hills, make yourself look good. I don't think so. I might be wrong. The king of idioms. Anyway, she's gone. They gave her a position in the Shields of America or the Shields of Righteousness or some other dumb organization they've created now. And here in the news from Satan's Place, I did not know this was going on. TikTok creators, I don't know whether it's 100% of them, but an enormous amount of them have all been demonetized. They're not making their TikTok money for dancing provocatively for 30 seconds and having 22 million views and getting paid to do that. Apparently, TikTok said, no more money for American content. Oh, sorry.
They're owned by Americans now. It's not Chinese.
Oh, okay, Margaret. Okay, it's not Chinese. Anyway, I found that interesting. So if somebody doesn't put NASA in their grave and start throwing the dirt on top of the casket, beep, nominal. If somebody doesn't start doing it, then it just will continue on. I mean, you can hashtag defund NASA and hashtag defund NASA now until the cows come home. Hopefully the message gets out there, but hopefully people are wise enough, bright enough to see money ain't for nothing. The chicks are free. Yeah, what do you want for nothing? A rubber biscuit? You get nothing. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I mean, how many musical references do we need to use here in an idiomatic, axiomatic, hydromatic way? You're getting nothing. The whole goal is to keep the outer space narrative alive. Please, let's keep the idea of a heliocentric world, a spinning, flying, wobbling, bobbling, tilted, hot, molten center, sticky, upside down, sideways water ball alive. Because that's where our money's coming from. That's where our money's come. Just keep it alive. And listen, whether NASA does two things. They do two things. I'm preaching to the choir here. They go up and they come down. And they take great effort and consonance, I think that's the right word for this application, in showing you these big, beautiful blast-offs. And then after a couple minutes, okay, cartoon switch, beep. And then when they come back down, do they show us the spaceship coming in from 25,000 miles an hour to 800 miles an hour? No. Do they show it from 800 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour when the parachute's open? No. They show you, boop, oh, there they are. There are the parachutes. Floaty, 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 floaty. Sploosh, sploosh. And then they go get them out and put a blankie over them because they still have their spacesuits on. Or were the technicians up in the outer space to put their suits back on if they didn't? Yeah, that's not practical, is it? Yeah. So it's a floundering, highly suspect moon mission program. Zero Mars talk. I think I've already covered all this. Bezos is, every once in a while I'll get something in the doom scrolling about Bezos and his little trips to outer space. How far does he go up, Margaret? 60 miles, maybe. Okay, he got parabolic, straight up, straight down. Space tourism. Okay, it's a joke. They've been doing it now for years, and everybody looks at it and goes, this is stupid. This is a carnival ride. It's not outer space. There is no outer space. And the big news, too, was that the Floatyville tuna can's coming down in 2030. Coming down in 2030. That's about 3 years away. Coming down. Then what will America have in outer space? Absolutely nothing. Sing it again. But we'll have war. Huh. Amazing. And I think we all know what's right around the bend. The outer space alien full disclosure. Brought to you by the Trump administration. We're going to declassify all the outer space alien classified top secret documents. They'll all be declassified, just like we declassified the Jeffrey Epstein files. Yes, everything will be declassified. Doesn't that sound good? Yes, there are aliens and Epstein victims walking amongst us. We will declassify everything. You know what? The American citizen's patience is about this thick. It has been run to the nub. And I'm politically on both sides. I mean, the one side's just gone. But the Republicans now are starting to wake up. I hope. I pray. Because there's a lot of pushback. You know, I was Christian pondering this thought. What's the real difference between the two political parties in America? One party thinks they are right about everything all the time, and they couldn't be more wrong. The other party wants to do right, and every time somebody makes a mistake within the party and doesn't do right, they call them out, they sit them down, they fire them, and then they keep seeking to do things the right way. That's the best description I can give to them. Do they fall short? Many times. But at least they're on the good foot. The other one isn't on the good foot at all. You just make a list of all the abominations to God, and that's what that party does. Yep, we do that. Yep, we do that. Yep, we do that. We do that. Yeah, so buttons on your chest. Bizarre to me. Just bizarre to me. Yeah. One more panel on this. I'm going to run a couple of clips and call this thing short today. Yeah, the deep fake Elon selling of the SpaceX IPO. Apparently there was a deep fake on Elon, and he was telling everybody to get in on his SpaceX X AI. Anyway, it was a deep fake. And again, if folks don't wake up, and as Christians, we should have the eyes to see this. Or at the very least, capture that thought and give it to the obedience of Christ and be still and wait for the answer. But no, people want to jump right in anyway. well, let me run the Elon clip first, then we'll come back to this. Here you go. Watch this.
It's the Great Space Coaster. Get on board on the Great Space Coaster. We'll explore.
Elon announces he's going to send an uncrewed mission to Mars.
And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was.
Well, look, I'm not going to waste all the time I'm in. I'm going to talk about his running mate. His running mate, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk!
Look, Elon's on that stage, jumping around, skipping like a dipshit on these things. You know it.
That's our Governor Underpants right there. Governor Timmy, who sat in front of a congressional hearing and just said, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't know. No, I did. Are you the governor? Yes, but I didn't know. I didn't know. Governor, how many children are there in your state of Minnesota? I don't know. Governor, what's the percentage of Somali residents in your state that are on some sort of welfare or Medicaid in your state? I don't know. I don't know. Governor, could you tell us why the courts rejected your idea of reinstating payments to the Food for Fraud? I don't know. I don't know. Now, listen, if that idiotic clodhopper can tell that Elon Musk is a goofball, why can't you, me, us, we? I got to calm down. Yeah. This is biblical. There's just no other way to put it. This is all biblical. It's all biblical. It's just going to wax worse. And love of many will grow cold. It's going to wax worse and worse. They love themselves. They love their power. They love their celebrity. They love their authority. They love their filthy lucre. And that's not going to change. What's the scripture in the book of Revelations about they that have need for nothing? They have all the riches. We have need for nothing. Oh, okay. Do you lay any treasures up in heaven? No, we have need for nothing here. We have everything. Okay. And they're pretty happy with that. Okay. Wow. I don't even need to know that there's any reason to go over this list. Right? Elon, this has been his same pitch for as long as Elon has been Elon. Right? He's building these fantastical space mobiles, and then they blow up. And he says, oh, that's cool. Cost me $1 billion. What? And then he comes out and tells everybody, I'm building the coolest AI of all, with AI robots. And then out of the other side of his mouth, he tells everyone how dangerous it is. What? And this data center power grift? If there's no money for them, you can't build them. If there's no power for them, you can't build them. I'm starting to think this is another one of these NASA narratives things. Well, we'll put up a building and tell them, but we need money for it. Not out of the realm of possibility, is it? No, it is not. All right. I'm going to start winding this thing down. I'm pretty sure I got to everything I wanted to cover, other than the fact that just look at this time frame. When I was 12, 13, and 14 years old, right? Young man, becoming a young man, 1969 to 1972. The NASA Apollo storytellers told us these fantastical stories. 6 of them that landed on the moon. They were doing it so often, nobody paid attention. Then a disaster story of Apollo 13 that got their attention. That was done in 3 years. This Artemis program has taken 6. And they still haven't put anybody manned around their moon. It's a story, folks. It's a story. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Right down Santa Claus Lane. Bum, 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 bum. Amazing to me. Absolutely amazing to me. Make us believe in something that it not only doesn't exist, it's never existed. Well, we used to do it this way back in 1969, but we can't do it that. No, it didn't exist in 1969 either. What are you, 12? What is that where your brain stopped at 12? Unbelievable. I think that's it. Yeah, I didn't want to glaze over this. To make it biblical, do not be deceived. Wow. That's that. Now, to give it some great perspective, the kid who had the great angst about, well, let me see if I can put a comparative. I'll just run his real quick. Because he's pretty adamant right at the front of the piece about how he feels about this. Here he is.
Gone are my blues and gone are my tears. I've got good news to shout in your ears.
I cannot believe that this is the news that we are hearing about right now, but NASA just officially canceled the entire mission that was supposed to land humans on the moon. This is obviously insane right now. For years, Artemis 3 was supposed to be the mission that finally put humans back on the moon for the first time since 1972. That was literally the entire point, why it's all over social media, why so many people are excited right now, and yesterday, NASA just officially canceled it. They actually didn't scrap the entire program, though. They actually just scrapped the plan, because Artemis 3 is still going to launch in 2027, but it's just not going to go to the moon anymore. Instead,
We're in the money.
Yeah. So you can see how worked up he is, right? He's upset. He's just little dangling earrings hanging off the side, and she's upset. What are they doing? Well, that's one part of American youth. And here's another. A sailor who actually sails.
She was making for the trades on the outside, and the downhill run to Papa A.
This is one of the most important skills to know as a sailor and as a navigator.
What do flat earthers think about GPS?
Because if I get struck by lightning, I'm immediately going to lose all of my electronics. That means GPS, location transmitters, AIS, and the only way I'm going to be able to find my way back to land is using a sextant, using celestial navigation, sun, moon, and stars to find my location.
My question is to any flat earthers out there, or to anyone who knows flat earthers, what does a flat earther believe when it comes to how GPS works? I'd love to know what their model is for understanding how to calculate distances using latitude and longitude.
It's called a sextant, and it measures the angle between the sun and the horizon. So if I look right now, the angle of the sun to the horizon is approximately 36 degrees. Now, if we do a bit of geometry and we draw a triangle between the sun, its geographic position, its shadow on Earth, and myself, I know that this angle of the triangle is roughly 36 degrees. Now that will actually give me a distance that I am from the sun's shadow, from its GP.
I'd love to know what their model is for understanding how to calculate distances using latitude and longitude.
Now, the cool thing is, when I take a sight like this in the morning, that allows me to draw a circle around the sun's geographic position. Now, I know I'm somewhere on that circle. I'm going to wait maybe 6 or 7 hours until the sun has moved from one part of the sky to the other. In the afternoon, I'm going to take another sight. That sight is going to do the same thing. It's going to give me another circle. These two circles are going to intersect at 2 places. Now, I know by rough estimation which of those 2 intersecting points I'm going to be at.
What is the flat earther belief when it comes to GPS? I mean, we use GPS every day on our phone to get from here to there, so obviously it works.
Shoot me a message and I'd be happy to talk more in depth about how we as navigators find our way around the world using celestial navigating.
Cause the truth you might be running from is so small, but it's as big as the promise of a coming day.
It's as big as the promise of a coming day. Yep. And that young man just said, yeah, latitude, longitude, those are all derived from the Cartesian grid system. But no, we just triangulate our position. That's it. I don't need anything. I got the sun, the moon, the stars. These people who are covered up with their science, where they think that they need electronics and technology and science to do everything. No. Simple geometry. Boom, boom, boom. Triangulate your position. It's how it's been done since the beginning of time. Anyway, that's that. Margaret, it has been a beautiful replay day today. Give me some music, will you? Music. Thank you. Let's go into the chat. Ed is in here this morning. Good morning, Ed. Yeah, listen. I don't know how long, these signs, that TikTok news was a little revealing. That surprised me that they cut the monetization off of these TikTok creators. Oh, what will we do? When all the barista jobs at Starbucks have been taken. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. Neil Costantino. Yo, Neil. Good to have you here. Good to see you. Surf Daddy's here, too. We got another Discord panel guy from the Flat Earth Debate. That's always nice to see. Hate to see you guys. Yeah, and how quickly a season comes and goes. Mr. Towner, like I said, got the tip of the cap this morning. Yeah, only the heavy hitters stuck around this morning. And I appreciate it. Thank you much. Otherwise, I would have been playing to the Muslim Moose. Hey, we're gonna have a meeting after this is over, okay, Moose? I'm your Huckleberry. Yeah, not with that Muslim hat on. I don't care what kind of clever, anomalistic, phenomenal, paradoxical hat machine you're going to be pushing on me, Moose. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. Thank you for being here. Well, and Katie slipped it. Dapper Dan came in at the end, too. Yeah, a lot of scripture. I wish the days of keeping the chat live conversations were still here, but I wish for a lot of things that never happen.
That's what you get for wishing.
Yeah, you caught me there, Margaret. You caught me there. Anyway, good to see you, Dan. And may the peace, joy, love, grace, understanding of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ be with you this day and every day. I love you, ladies. Thank you, men. If the lakes don't thaw, we may see you one more time before we call it a season. All right? Peace.
Take the message to my brother. You will find him everywhere where the people live together. Total poverty, despair. Oh, you telling me things you're gonna do for me. I ain't blind and I don't like what I think I see. Take it out, take it out. We can make it better. Better for my brother.
Take care, fisherman in the box.
Yeah.